It's a pleasure and a privilege to be in Paris, and you have a beautiful city and wonderful people and many good friends here, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm going to talk to you today about the internet and some new technology tools that are out there for real estate professionals. I've brought a few tools along that I can show you that I believe are very interesting and unique to our business. So, let me just ask you a couple of questions. What do you think is the future for real estate and technology? What do you think the future is for technology and real estate? I always like to remind students not to look backwards. I mean, it's okay for us to look back on our heritage and to get ideas to use for the future, but if we look in the past, we'll be left behind with what's going on with technology. So I think it's a good idea for us to always look forward. And so my first question is, what is the future? And I have a little mobile device up there, and probably the future is going to be more mobile phones, because mobile technology is very, very big. Today there are all types of smartphones. And even here in France, I noticed that the mobile phone's very precious, and people do business and they communicate via the mobile phone. So mobile technology is going to be very big. Now, according to the recent report that I read, by the third quarter of next year, more people will have what we call smartphones than a traditional mobile phone. So by the third quarter of 2011, they predict that smartphones will be very, very popular and very big. So let's look at mobile technology and just talk about how big is mobile technology. There are 4 billion users of mobile phones. As you can see from the previous slide, there are 6 billion people on the planet. Now, that means approximately 60% of the people have cell phones. However, when you look at the United States, the UK, and Spain, 90% of people have a cell phone, which is very big, huge. So if 90% of the people have cell phones, look at this study. Fewer than 0.6% of people are marketing via the phone to consumers. So cell phone marketing is going to become very popular. Now, have you seen this type of advertising here in France? Anyone familiar with this? This is called a QR code. And with the QR code, if you have a mobile phone, you get a free application where you can take your phone and take a picture of that, and it will take you to a website. If you took a picture of this code, here's where we would go out on the World Wide Web, to that website. So I basically generated a code to go to the FNAIM website. And so we're using this, and we're seeing this technology now in the United States and really in other parts of Europe as well. Basically, you can take a code and embed that into a listing document. There's a friend of mine here, Ruth, from Aspen, Colorado, and Ruth was telling me she has these codes on her window in her real estate shop, and when people walk by her window, they take their phone and they take a picture of the code, and they can go look at a virtual tour or other information. So QR codes are going to be very popular. They're already very big. That means approximately 60% of the people have cell phones. However, when you look at the United States, the UK, and Spain, 90% of people have a cell phone, which is very big, huge. So if 90% of the people have cell phones, look at this study. Fewer than 0.6% of people are marketing via the phone to consumers. So cell phone marketing is going to become very popular. Now, have you seen this type of advertising here in France? Anyone familiar with this? This is called a QR code. And with the QR code, if you have a mobile phone, you get a free application where you can take your phone and take a picture of that, and it will take you to a website. If you took a picture of this code, here's where we would go out on the World Wide Web, to that website. So I basically generated a code to go to the FNAIM website. And so we're using this, and we're seeing this technology now in the United States and really in other parts of Europe as well. Basically, you can take a code and embed that into a listing document. There's a friend of mine here, Ruth from Aspen, Colorado, and Ruth was telling me she has these codes on her window in her real estate shop. And when people walk by her window, they take their phone and they take a picture of the code, and they can go look at a virtual tour or other information. So QR codes are going to be very popular. They're already very big, and now you can actually have folks go out to various places on the World Wide Web. I put up here a couple of examples for you so that you can see. There is a gentleman, go back here for just a second. There is a gentleman, I'm going the wrong way, sorry. Go back here for just a second. There's a gentleman who has the QR code on a sign outside of an open house. There's another code on a regular for sale sign, and then over to the other side are newspaper advertisements where they have the QR codes in that as well. So QR codes are going to be very popular. This is a software application here called Mobile App Loader, and Mobile App Loader will allow you to create your own mobile application program that you can put on your website. So with Mobile App Loader, I can now have an application for my real estate agency and direct consumers to go out on the World Wide Web to find my information much easier. So mobile applications, mobile devices, they are all becoming very, very popular, and this is what consumers are going to be looking at. So it's one area that I want you to think about as you prepare and get ready for the future in technology. Another popular area is mobile advertising to mobile devices. Now, this is a little bit touchy. We use the word touchy, but maybe I want to use the word, some people are a little bit uncertain if they want to go into this area or not. However, with mobile text advertising, consumers can sign up at your website and offer their phone number, their mobile phone number, and then you as a real estate broker can keep them updated or posted through their smartphone, okay? So this is a company called Trumpia, and they allow you to collect cell phone numbers from consumers, and then as consumers give you their cell phone number, and by the way, the consumers also say, it's okay for you to send me cell phone advertising. You can now communicate with them via text messaging or mobile cell phones. So it's very important to get their permission. You don't want to do that just out of taking their phone number, but if I give you my permission to send me information to my cell phone, then you could directly advertise and market it that way. So again, remember, get permission, and that there are 90% of the people out there have a cell phone. And it's becoming bigger and bigger, and it's a great way for you to stay in touch with your customers. Now, virtual worlds. Last year, I had the privilege to speak here in Nice, at the conference down in Nice. And after the conference, I had a couple of people that came up to me and said, "We have a virtual real estate office we want to show you." This is a virtual real estate office that they were showing me. What I found out is this is becoming very popular around the United States and in other parts of the world. You actually can go into the virtual office, and inside the virtual office you can look at videos, magazines, you can communicate and chat or talk to people, and it's all done in a virtual world or a virtual society. This is a website called Second Life that's on the internet. Some of you may have heard of Second Life. Second Life is a place where people go out on the World Wide Web and they talk to other people. Now, it seems a little bit odd to me, but it's very big. In fact, there are millions of people that are on Second Life doing business all the time. And in the United States, I'm finding more and more real estate brokers who have an office on Second Life, where consumers can shop for real estate and ask questions and get information via the internet. I actually was the president this last year for the Council of Real Estate Brokers, which is an organization for real estate brokers and managers in the United States. And we hosted our very first cyber convention. So all of the, think in terms of the convention we just had here the last 2 days, the Congress. You could do one similar to this in June, but it would be all online. So you could log into your computer and hear me talking from Missouri and hear someone else talking from Belgium and maybe someone else from Italy, and we're all coming together online to have a cyber conference or a cyber convention. Now, it does take away a little bit from the networking. So I'm not saying that you substitute a conference, because nothing is better than meeting people in person, shaking their hands, but it's always another opportunity or another way to communicate and to stay in touch. So just another way that people are communicating out on the World Wide Web. Now let's talk a little bit about Facebook. I put this slide up here because in America, some people are wondering, is Facebook going away? You know, some people are tired of Facebook in America. They've had enough of it. And like anything, times will be good and then it will have an end of its life, right? What most people are predicting about social networking is that it's going to be more of a localized environment. So you might have a Facebook example, but it may be more for your particular area. So you might have more of a social network in Paris, where people from Paris join and communicate and stay in touch. But they tend to think that this may be more of a local or a more localized area. So if you want to start your own social network, do you know you can do that on the World Wide Web? Here's a place called Ning, N-I-G, and it's free, doesn't cost you anything. And with Ning, You can create your own social network. There's also another website out there, this one here called Social Go. So if you wanted to create a website for real estate agents who live in Nice, France, or the French Riviera, you could have your own social networking site right there in the French Riviera and create that through programs such as Ning and Social Go. Now let's take a look at YouTube and some of the other content items that are out there on the World Wide Web. When I talk about content, I'm talking about information that you can put on your website. So how big is that to have information on your website? How important is that? Here's a gentleman in the United States that had 10 visits per day. Now this is a real estate salesperson. This person had 10 visits per day, 300 visits per month to his website, trying to just sell things to the consumer. In other words, he had pictures of his houses on the internet. He just had basic information like a lot of us tend to do. When he started providing content on the internet, he went from 10 visits a day to 175 visits a day. He increased his listing inventory 25%. Now, why did that happen? Because we're a society that likes information. We like information. When I was on the panel the other day and the question was asked to me about social networking and Facebook, what I wanted to say was I had seen pictures of this auditorium and knew all about the convention center before I ever arrived in Paris. And how could I do that? Through the internet. We're used to having that information on the internet. And so I was able to find that information. Well, as we get used to that, we want more and more of that information. So the more that your site can have information, the better it will help consumers want to come back to your website. And I hope that makes sense. So let's take a look at what kind of information you can put out on the World Wide Web. First of all, YouTube. Very popular, very big in the United States. If you tried to reach 50 million people, how long do you think it took radio to reach 50 million people? It took radio 38 years. 38 years to reach 50 million people. It took television 13 years to reach 50 million people. It took the internet 4 years to reach 50 million people, and it only took the iPod 3 years to reach 50 million people. But look at this. Facebook reached 50 million people in just 2 years. And in fact, the next 9 months, it went from 50 million to almost 450 million people. Mind-boggling numbers. And the opportunity for any of us in this auditorium to create an application or a product and reach that many people is not uncommon. It could happen to anyone here today.